Well, good morning. Welcome to another Memphis Monday. Today we're going to try to restore this old rocking chair. I think it's about 40 years old. Its main problem is that all the joints have loosened up, and it now rocks in about 3 dimensions instead of 2. So if you want to see that, stay tuned, because that's what we're going to do today. Oh, welcome to another Memphis Monday 391, our 8th year, our 27th week, our first week in the second half of our 8th year. Today we're going to try to fix I think it's about 45-year-old rocker by a company called Frank & Son. They stopped making furniture for the consumer market about 45 years ago. I think they still make commercial furniture. And I've checked the rocker out. It doesn't have a lot of value. As a matter of fact, it is selling really cheap. So apparently it's not a famous name, but it is got a little paper tag underneath the seat, which is kind of neat. But it looks like its main problem is the joints of all the mortise and tenon joints have failed, and so today we're going to try to fix it without wrecking it. But we're not going to get that done unless we knock off the chit-chat and get to work. Now this thing has some exquisite detail. You can see the gold paint on the stretchers and the legs, the arm supports. Look at the hand pin striping on those slats. So there's no way, and the pin striping up there on the top crest. And then it's got that stencil up there. And more gold paint. So the point is, we have to be very careful. We don't want to wipe off any of this paint. We don't want to treat it with any harsh chemicals that will dissolve the paint. This thing's got just an amazing patina to it that I don't want to mess with. And just like with any restoration or repair, you got to keep in mind things are only original once, and so you want to do as little as possible. So what do we want to do? So what we want to do is we want to focus in on just what's broken. See how that arm moves? Same with the others. The other is even worse. Here's the right arm. You can see it's totally loose. The stiles are loose. See? And here are the slats in the back. You can see them how they're moving back and forth. So that's basically what we got to fix. Now to fix that, we obviously need to take it apart. So let's talk about that. Now the top rail is placed in a mortise and tenon joint into the stile and glued and then held in place with 2 finish nails that were driven into the tenon. Similarly, the back slat is, it's been rounded off and stuck into a mortise up into this top rail and held in place with these finish nails. Now these two, this one and the one over here on the left, over here, are proud of the surface, so I should be able to pull those out. Now going down about halfway, this is the loose arm. There's a little wooden plug right here, and my guess is that behind that plug there's an old-timey screw that looks a lot like this, screwed into that arm. I don't know why they couldn't have had a better system than that, but that's how they're all built. And then once we get all those mechanical fasteners out, these legs, or these arm supports, they should come out pretty easy. Now this one appears to be held in with a, this one's totally loose. The stump is totally loose, but this one, apparently, they put a finish nail in there because I feel some mechanical resistance. And I haven't noticed any bad joints in the bottom half of the chair here. The stretchers seem okay and the rocker seems okay. These legs seem tight. So unless I find something, we'll probably leave this bottom alone. This little wooden plug should be put in there with almost no glue and real loose, so you can take it out and adjust that screw. But over time they get to where you can't get them out. And besides, this one doesn't have any lip. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a hole in it. Now I can put a screw in it. Leverage behind it. Now I can drive this screw right on in. There it goes. See how it jacks. Okay, now let's see if we can take that inner screw out. Well, it's very tight. What's happening is when I try to back that screw out, it's pushing this arm away from this stile, which means that the screw is locked up in here and it's jacking the arm away from the thing. So I'm going to tighten it back up. That little piece of paper I was telling you about. Paper at the bottom, got the chair number, color, fabric. Well, I tried it one more time and it came right on, it popped right on out of there. There's the screw. Looks pretty heavy duty. Okay, now that we have the leg, the arm attached from the stile, detached from the stile. Now we need to drive these arm supports out of the mortises here. Let's give that a try. Okay, what I did is I just picked around a little bit, gave myself a nub here to grab hold of with my pliers. Oh, it's coming out. It's a long one. Okay, if my theory's right now, this thing should slide out of there. Let me get some brute force behind it. Okay, my theory is I'll take this flat punch here and give it some taps on the back. The back one's coming out. Well, I got all the parts taken apart and cleaned up. What I'm trying to do now is figure out how to glue the thing back together. Problem is you can't just take apart and glue it and stick it on, and take another part, glue it, and stick it on. It has to be all done at once. And I'll tell you how they do it. When they first assembled this thing in the factory, the slats here stuck up in the crest here and glued, and a nail was put in. And they did the same thing for the mortise and tenon joints into the stiles. They glued them and put a couple of nails in. So now this whole assembly could be in one piece, could be lowered down and attached to the seat. They did that with, they used something called Hide glue, H-I-D-E glue. It's a protein glue, and it has a long set time. And we're not going to use that kind of glue, but and I don't want to put those nails back in there. So let me think about it. Well, this may be a mistake, but I think I'm just going to go for it. I'm using Tide Bond 3, which is a mistake. They use, you probably noticed on furniture, they use this real thick, heavy black, actually it's brown, glue they call Hide glue. And one of the reasons they use it is it has, they call it reversibility. In other words, if you have a mistake, you can reverse it because the glue is soluble in water and acetone and a few other things, and alcohol. And it also sets up, has a real long setup time. Well, this modern glue doesn't have any of that stuff. And That's the reason they don't use it for furniture. But I don't have any hide glue. I got some ordered, but... Okay, now I need to stop talking and start worrying. Okay, now I just need to put some glue in these mortises. And then fellow might think, well, I guess you just let this back dry and then put the arms on. Nay, nay. Because this back has to be at the right tilt to meet these arms. Now you remember when we took these plugs out, we used a drywall screw and just backed them out. Now we can use that same screw, put them back in again. Putting just a trifling amount of glue. While the glue dries, I'm putting a coat of poly on it. You gotta be kind of careful in this stuff. You know, you don't want to put poly on it unless it said poly on it before. But this was built in the late 1970s. And I found some evidence of some spray-on poly. And looks like poly. There's probably a test for poly, but I don't know what it is. But anyway, this brightens it up, I think. And it's not dissolving the paint. The pinstripes or any of the accent, gold accent paint on it. Well, here's our rocking chair restoration for Memphis Monday 391. Basically, we took it apart. I removed all the mechanical fasteners and I didn't put them back. We re-glued all the joints and cleaned it up and put some polyurethane on it. It had some sprayed on polyurethane from the factory. It was built in the late 1970s, so it's about 45 years old. Okay, so far, pretty satisfied. Well, it does it for another Memphis Monday 391. It's our 27th week of our 8th year. Today we did some repairs to a rocking chair, and the only disappointment I have with myself on the project is that I didn't wait for my hide glue to come in. I went ahead and repaired it like I always do with Titebond 3. The problem with Titebond 3 or any of the modern glues is that they're not, I think the word is recoverable. You know, if joint fails, the wood's probably going to fail. The hide glue, you know, it will dissolve with water and alcohol, and you can clean it out and start over. Well, you can't do that with that modern glue, that plastic glue. Plastic glue also doesn't stick to itself, and the hide glue does. And hide glue has about a 30 minute, it's called open time. So you can, especially with, that's the reason almost even modern chairs, they use hide glue, because when you assemble it, you have to assemble it all at one time because all the parts are interlocking. So you can't just, do one part then another. You have to do them all at the same time, which means that everything has to be glued up at the same time, which with Titebond 3, you only got a working time of about 10 minutes before it starts to harden. So, but I think overall it turned out all right. Another advantage of hide glue is it doesn't, Titebond 3 or any of the modern glues will mess up your finish. You can't stain over them. You can't, they leave a white streak. Not so with hide glue. So why didn't you use hide glue? Well, because I didn't want to wait. I got an order and it might be here in a week or 2 weeks or whatever, and I have to get this project done. And I've fixed many chairs with Titebond 3, so it's not like I've never used Titebond 3 on chairs before. That's the only thing I've ever used. But I'm anyway, I'm rambling on here. Favorite, share, all the stuff do on the internet, but most important, make sure you're back here next week for another exciting Memphis Monday. Thanks for playing along.